Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a career counselor advising computer science students right now, you are probably dealing with a whole lot of anxiety. The headlines out there are just so loud. AI is writing code, generative models are suddenly building entire apps, and your students are understandably terrified that the jobs they've been studying so hard for are just going to vanish before they even graduate. Well, our goal with today's explainer is to cut right through all that noise. We're going to unpack the reality of how the software developer role is actually evolving, and we'll be grounding this in hard data and real insights from industry leaders over at Google and MIT.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're covering 1. The AI coding reality. 2. Vibe coding versus real engineering. 3. The transition from coder to quality manager. 4. The shift in developer time. And finally, 5. The junior advantage and reverse mentoring. Let's jump right into section 1. The AI coding reality. A fundamental shift. We really have to start by validating those very real concerns you're hearing from your recent and upcoming grads.
Look at this stark metric right here. We've seen a nearly 20% drop in employment for entry-level software engineers since 2022. That is a massive shift. And honestly, it's exactly what's driving the panic. The reality is that generative AI has suddenly made writing basic, foundational code accessible to virtually anyone. You just no longer need a 4-year degree to get a computer to perform a basic function.
To really understand why this is happening, we need to talk about a buzzy and, frankly, kind of funny, new trend called vibe coding. This term was coined by Andrej Karpathy, a founding member over at OpenAI, and it basically describes programming as being like a plain English conversation with a robot. You literally just tell the AI what you want, give into the vibes, and it writes the code. And the results? They are wild. There's a boutique warehouse owner in West Virginia, Jamie Grove, who used vibe coding to build a custom inventory tracking system in less than a day. That saved his business potentially tens of thousands of dollars a year. Then there's Cynthia Chen, a creator with absolutely zero technical background, who built and launched a full-stack dog breed app entirely on her own. So hobbyists and small business owners are suddenly building full apps and totally skipping the entry-level developer. But as we're about to see, that's really only part of the story.
Which brings us to section 2, vibe coding versus engineering, hobbyist versus professional.
To explain to your students why their foundational knowledge still matters immensely, we have to draw a hard line here. Adi Osmani, the director of Google Cloud AI, illustrates this contrast perfectly. On one side, you have vibe coding. It's fantastic for getting an idea off the ground fast. You don't even need a clear vision. You just let the AI rapid prototype. But on the other side, real professional engineering. That requires serious rigor. We're talking clear requirements, extensive testing, and strict quality gates. Professional engineering is all about building a battle-hardened, robust artifact that can reliably ship to hundreds of millions of users. A warehouse app that works for 12 employees is awesome. But it is absolutely not the same thing as engineering secure, scalable architecture for a global bank.
Moving right along to section 3, coder to quality manager, the evolving role.
So if AI is handling all that manual typing and basic syntax, what are professional developers actually doing all day at places like Google? Well, according to Osmani, it's a complete paradigm shift. Your students are no longer just typists memorizing code, they're evolving into managers. As he says, you're going to have effectively a virtual team of agents that you direct, but you are 100% responsible for the output.
The core daily workflow has fundamentally changed. Step 1 is directing those virtual agents. But step 2, and this is absolutely crucial, this is where that rigorous engineering degree pays off, is evaluating the output quality. Developers constantly have to ask, what's the quality bar here? How do we ensure this code actually meets user needs consistently and securely? And finally, step 3 is deploying that robust code. You can't just let AI agents run wild overnight and blindly deploy whatever they build. You need human oversight. That means your students' deep knowledge of system architecture is literally more valuable today than it has ever been.
Let's look at section 4, the shift in developer time, how work is changing.
We have some fascinating data from MIT researchers who surveyed over 187,000 developers actively using AI tools like GitHub Copilot. Notice how AI completely reallocates a developer's day. Think about the old way. If you were writing piece of code A and it depended on piece of code B, you just had to sit around and wait for another developer to finish their part. It meant a ton of time wasted on project management and meetings. But the new way? You shift your time massively away from those project management bottlenecks and right back into active, core coding.
Why? Because you don't have to wait anymore. You can just have the AI instantly write that dependent piece of code for you. And because developers can now write dependent code instantly, productivity has just skyrocketed. In the early days of AI, engineering leaders were seeing maybe a 10 to 15% boost. Today, that number is sitting anywhere from 30 to 50%, and it's for sure only going up from here. AI isn't just making their jobs easier, it's making them significantly faster and more effective at their core tasks.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the junior advantage, reverse mentoring. Because honestly, there is incredibly positive news here for your advisees.
MIT researcher Frank Nagel points out something really interesting. He argues that companies pausing their junior hiring, remember that 20% drop we talked about earlier, are actually making a massive, short-sighted mistake. I mean, who's going to run the company in 10 years, right? His research proves that junior developers are the fastest to adapt to and master these generative AI tools. They aren't entrenched in the old ways of doing things, which uniquely position them to use AI to massively accelerate their own learning.
And this creates a perfect environment for a real game changer, reverse mentoring. This is an actionable, highly valuable strategy you can give your students today. There is a symbiotic trade happening in the workplace right now. Junior developers, fresh out of school, can actually teach senior staff the newest AI workflows, prompt generation, and how to maximize these virtual agents. In exchange, the experienced senior devs teach the juniors how the industry actually operates, the robustness and architectural standards needed for enterprise software. Your students' AI fluency is literally a high-value currency they can trade for senior-level wisdom.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to share with your job seekers. The physical act of manually typing code, yeah, that's becoming automated. But the demand for human critical thinking, deep architectural knowledge, quality oversight, and robust engineering, that has never been higher. The successful graduate of tomorrow isn't just a coder. They are a sophisticated manager of AI systems. The only question left is, are your students ready to step up and manage the outcome?